Coming up in today's video, a murderer who killed 3 people including his pregnant ex-girlfriend and revelled in being called a serial killer. A truck driver who murdered women at truck stops and kept grim trophies of his crimes. And a serial killer who transported the bodies of his female victims in a shopping cart. As always, the content in this video may be disturbing to some, so if you're of a sensitive nature, please click away now. Ready to find out more? Okay, let's go. Joshua Dotson has been convicted of 3 murders, including the killing of his ex-girlfriend and her unborn child. He also proudly labels himself as a serial killer and positively likens himself to Michael Myers, the antagonist from the Halloween movies. In June 2020, he breaks into the home of his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Dotson, to confront her about recent Facebook posts and to discuss issues he has regarding her pregnancy. A heated argument erupts, and in an attempt to de-escalate tensions, Jamisha walks away and locks herself in another room. This is not enough to calm Joshua. He draws a gun and shoots through the closed door, but fortunately, he misses her. He forces his way into the room and they continue to argue. A few more words are exchanged before he storms out of the house, leaving Jamisha alone again, but not for long. He quickly returns to the scene and fires the gun again. Several of the bullets hit Jamisha and she is killed. Joshua flees from the scene. In a desperate attempt to conceal his involvement in her murder, he creates a Facebook memorial page in the days following the discovery of her body. Posing as a heartbroken ex-boyfriend, he tells her to fly high, all the while knowing he is the one responsible for her death. But Jamisha is not the first person he has killed. In fact, he has already shot 3 others before her. 8 months earlier, in November 2019, 18-year-old Divian Parker was fatally shot in a Memphis parking lot. And just a month before he kills Jamisha, in May 2020, he shot Renita Bennett and Reginald Anderson in a Memphis park. Unfortunately, Reginald succumbed to his injuries, but Rita survives, albeit with life-altering injuries. But why did he do it? Well, 6 days after shooting Jamisha, Joshua was finally arrested. After numerous delays, the trial for her murder began in 2024. He stated that one of his main motivations for taking her life was because she had knowledge of the 3 people he'd attacked in Memphis. He also repeatedly referred to her as a sex worker, despite there being no evidence of this being the case. Joshua's behaviour during the trial was unhinged. He enjoyed referring to himself as a serial killer, and at one point declared, "I am Michael Myers." In June 2024, he was sentenced to 102 years in prison for the murder of Jamisha. Just this year, he was found guilty of the other 3 attacks in Memphis and received an additional 261-year sentence. He offered no motives for these attacks, if indeed there was one, other than his own pride at being labelled a serial killer. Bruce Mendenhall has been dubbed the truckstopkiller after murdering at least 3 women at truck stops. He is currently under investigation for at least another 6 murders. His first known murder occurred on June 26, 2007, when 25-year-old Sarah Holbert was fatally shot at a truck stop in Nashville, Tennessee. The perpetrator fled from the scene, but his truck was caught on surveillance footage. 2 weeks later, on July 12th, the same truck pulls into the stop again. It catches the attention of a police officer who recognises it as the truck that was present on the night that Sarah was murdered. The officer immediately approached the vehicle and spoke with Mendenhall, who exited the truck so the officer can conduct an initial inspection. And it quickly becomes evident that Mendenhall has something to hide. The cabin's interior was splattered with blood on the steering wheel, and a plastic bag containing further incriminating evidence was discovered. The officer took a look inside the bag and found bloodied female clothing and the identification card for a woman who had been reporting missing in Indianapolis. Mendenhall was immediately placed under arrest. But the truck held yet more disturbing evidence. A further inspection revealed a rifle, knives, handcuffs, latex gloves, and black tape. These items are eventually found to contain the DNA of 5 different women. After his arrest, Mendenhall was initially cooperative with detectives during questioning. He admitted to shooting Sarah in the truck's cabin, but soon changed his story, attempting to shift the blame onto alleged accomplices. There has never been any evidence to suggest anyone else was involved in the murder. 3 years later, in 2010, he was convicted of first-degree murder for the murder of Sarah and sentenced to life in prison. But what about the DNA from the other women that was found in the cab? The evidence from the truck eventually linked Mendenhall to the murder of Samantha Winters, whose body was found in a trash can near another truck stop in 2007. He was found guilty of this murder in 2018 and received an additional life sentence. And just this year, Mendenhall was found guilty of a third murder. A month after he attacked Samantha, 31-year-old mother of 2 Karma Purpura went missing after visiting a truck stop in Indianapolis. Her remains were not discovered until 4 years later. The DNA from inside Mendenhall's truck's cabin matched samples from Karma's parents, and this was enough evidence to convict him of the murder. He received an additional sentence of 65 years. Authorities continue to investigate possible links between Mendenhall and other murders. The presence of DNA from multiple women in his truck suggests he probably is guilty of more. Anthony Robinson has been convicted for the murders of 2 women and suspected of another 4. The victims all have one disturbing detail in common. Their bodies were transported to their dumping sites using shopping carts, and for this, Robinson has been dubbed the shopping cart killer. The first 2 murders Robinson is suspected of committing took place in September 2021. Cheyenne Brown, a 29-year-old from Washington, D.C., met Robinson on the dating site Plenty of Fish. He soon began visiting her home, but Cheyenne's cousin was uncomfortable around Robinson and asks him to leave. In a bid for more privacy, Cheyenne and Robinson agreed to travel out of town and checked into the Moon Hill Hotel in Alexandria, Virginia. This is the last confirmed sighting of Cheyenne. Her and Robinson seen together at a metro stop in Washington, D.C. After leaving town, Cheyenne did not contact her family and was soon reported missing. Months later, her body was discovered in a container next to a shopping cart behind the hotel. But there was a further grim discovery at the crime scene. There was a second body in the container. This body is later identified as that of Stephanie Harrison. She had been staying in the hotel at the same time as Cheyenne and Robinson, her subsequent death being the unfortunate result of meeting and befriending Robinson in the hotel lobby. The causes of death for both women are as yet unspecified. There are 2 murders for which he has been convicted. The month after the murders of Cheyenne and Stephanie, Robinson began working for a chicken processing plant in Harrisonburg, Virginia. As part of his compensation, his employer booked him a room at the nearby Howard Johnson Motel. On October 24th, 2021, 54-year-old Aileen Redmond told her daughter that she was going to watch a football game with her friend, Anthony. Her daughter found this strange. Her mother's never mentioned this friend before. Later that night, Aileen checked into the Howard Johnson Motel, the same motel in which Robinson was staying, and she is never seen alive again. Her body would be discovered alongside Robinson's next victim, Tonita Smith. Tonita Smith was a 39-year-old woman from Charlottesville, Virginia. She also checked into the Howard Johnson Motel and was reported missing on November 19th. The authorities eventually traced the signal from her phone to an undeveloped lot close to the motel, and there they discover her body. And like the victims at the Moon Inn Hotel, she was not alone. 15 feet away lay the body of Aileen. Their causes of death are disputed, but it is agreed to either be a result from either blunt force trauma or strangulation. Following these gruesome discoveries, investigators began reviewing security footage from inside the motel's corridors. The evidence soon pointed to one suspect, Anthony Robinson. The footage showed him entering Aileen's room at 6 p.m. on the day she was murdered, and then leaving again in the early hours of the following morning, pushing a shopping cart covered with a sheet, Aileen's body inside. Footage from the following month showed the same occurrence with Tonita. Robinson entered her room in the evening, departing hours later with a sheet-covered shopping cart. This year, Robinson was found guilty of the murders of Aileen and Tonita, and he's currently awaiting sentencing. Investigations are continuing with the other murders, including those of Cheyenne and Stephanie, but given the strong circumstantial evidence, I think it likely more charges will be brought against him in the future. So those are 3 serial killers who faced further convictions in 2025. Do you have any thoughts on these cases? If so, it would be great if you could leave a comment. And if you found the video interesting, I'd be grateful if you could like it, as it will help YouTube serve it to more people. And if you are interested in true crime content, then please have a think about subscribing, as I'll be posting more videos like this in the future. Until then.